key way she did it, and hence I'm sure that's why people. But
but the perspective is important to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we it's the way we look at things, isn't it? It's perspective. You look at things,
and when you see people
teaching
way, people to feel a particular way, think a particular way, think positive. Some people are saying every day, wake up and say, I'm a millionaire, I'm a this. And for you to be a millionaire, you must act in a particular way, hang out with particular people. So at the end of the day, if I then say that the only people I want to be hanging out with are the likes of Dangote and Adenuga, that's your you can't knock me. You can't knock me for that.
It's my
business. Good to see you.
It's my business. She was talking about a story of a girl who something she watched on Instagram, and the girl wanted to go and hang out in a particular restaurant, and the boy said it was too expensive.
Okay.
And then offered a different place, and then the girl now realized she was busy. So he then says, okay, well, since you're busy, I'll cancel the reservation at the expensive restaurant she wanted. Then all of a sudden, she's now free. So, so people now start saying, oh, why, she could have. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, if it is that she wants to eat in a 5-star restaurant, nobody should knock her for it. Of course, the way that happened was a bit sneaky, because now all of a sudden she's busy. She's busy when it's a cheap restaurant, and she's not busy when it's but she could have said, if it was me, I would have said, I still want to eat in that place, so let's 50 the deal. If you have money, you've got some money, I'll pay. It's since we're saying it's equal rights. So all of us, yes, now it's equal right to all that.
No, she must stop your money.
Equal rights. Then that means that I can take you out and say I'll pay. I'll take care of the bill.
The thing, maybe because we're in Africa, this is not a big deal.
Of course.
Outside the country, where you pay for your.
Everybody's paying for their meal. I invite you for my birthday, but you pay for your food.
When I tell people that some weddings you pay for your meal, people don't seem to understand. But again, it just shows how we see people and how we see ourselves. Exactly. So if you can't afford something, but you expect someone else to take responsibility for that, so when it's cheap, you can't deal. I mean, that's already a sign that when things go bad in the marriage, you may be gone. Because I mean, things can change. But when things change, how well are you able to adjust? Now becomes very.
But also, I mean, if their decision is that I want to marry a rich man, and I'm married to you, and your money finishes.
Yeah, but it's a choice. It's a choice, actually.
You goodbye and
there's nothing wrong with it. But what I always say is that you say, can you declare from the get-go that this is why I'm in
marrying you?
I mean, I like that. I know someone who says, I'm around you for this.
Yes.
All right. And once I get what I'm looking for, I'm gone.
Wow.
And I think people need to be mature to begin to have that sort of conversation. So that people don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Because I realize that many
used. The funny thing is, I mean, I've spoken to different guys and co, and they seem to get more positive response and a much more quicker response when they're upfront with a girl and say, I want this.
Yeah.
I'm just
it's
not a relationship.
So there's even if it's just a random person that it meets and is like, I want this, right? And there's a shock factor because most people are not naturally upfront with what it is that they want, how they want it, where they want it, when they want it, right? So there's an initial shock factor. Then it's like, okay.
I think the thing is, I think we have grown to a level where we now need to be truthful.
Yeah.
If it's sex I want from you,
just say it.
So that I know what I'm getting into.
You see my money, you see my
my father owns the hip. Nobody has the time for all these kind of things anymore.
Just say and I like you.
It helps people to measure their expectations. Right. So if we're never going to get married, say it to me. We are test running ourselves, right? And so I don't intend for this, so that nobody catches feelings, and I think people appreciate that more than the case of you used me, you dumped me. It's not so because undefined expectation is actually one of the most important reasons relationships break and people now fight dating. Because when we're coming in, what were you looking out for? And so we know, that for definition to be effective, mutual definition of terms must be in place. So that's why I say to people that if a guy says I love you, you want to ask him what is love to
to
you.
you.
Because love might mean I want to sleep with you.
I want to blow you.
And here you are. Oh wow, he loves me. No, it's not been defined. It's not, because this
His
guy
love
is
can be bitter.
Oh yeah.
His love can be
and so you need to ask, what is love? It's a human question. It's not too big for your mouth. I realize that people don't ask human questions, so when you don't ask human questions, you now say, oh, this wasn't what I bargained for. What did you bargain for?
Did you say it?
Yeah. You need to say it and say, hey, this is what love is to me. This is what love is to you. At that point, you can actually end the relationship and say, hey, I'm not sure this is.
But Pierre, not many people know what love is to even them.
I've
spoken to people and I've asked that question. Some people will say to you, is love now? I'm like, yes, so what does love mean to you?
But we've had that conversation where people are looking for love, but they don't know what love is.
So if it was slapping you in the face, you would never know. So you have to define what love means to you.
So have we got into love in this
not yet, but now that we're
okay, because I'm sorry guys, I have to go take care of some business.
We're talking about acceptance and understanding. And I was saying
that I sent a request to be in your live video.
I was saying that I can understand you and accept you, but not marry you.
Why not?
Because after understanding you and accepting you, I'm like, so this guy is not, or this girl is not the one.
No, part of understanding me is to say, so if I understand that, let's say I'm hungry, right? And what I want to eat, what I love to eat is amala.
Yeah.
Right? Food is placed before me. And now understand the food to be semo. I'm not still going to eat it.
No.
Do you understand? Because food is not food. But what people do is, food not food. Let us eat. Then now begins to taste somehow,
And then you're managing it.
Yeah. So, it's very, very important for you to understand the person you're dealing with. Even in friendship.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even boss to downline relationship.
Yeah.
It's important because if you don't understand your boss, you can't manage your boss effectively.
Yeah.
If you don't understand your downline, they can't warm up to you. So understanding is critical in even daily relationships, and people need to understand. People need to stand under for them. Which is basically the same concept of stooping to conquer. Basically, right? That I always say that if you approach everyone from the standpoint of curiosity, say, what can I learn? You are better positioned to not to be hurt than where you just assume. One of the things that amazes me is when people say, does that mean you don't trust me? I don't trust you.
Because I don't know you.
You've got to end that trust. You've not been tested.
I don't know you.
So it's not, but because we don't want to offend people, okay, I trust you. I trust you. No, I don't have to trust you. It's important for people to understand these things. And so maybe people now need to learn to have human conversations, which we never have, because a lot of things is shrouded in mystery where, I've grown so much this last 1 week that I just realized that life can be very simple.
Yeah.
If only people can be
people.
People.
Can be people.
It can be so easy.
Can be human.
It can be. There's no point fighting with people over anything.
Gosh.
You want to end the marriage? Have a conversation.
Yes, let's even have a party.
Well, I'm not in that.
I'm just saying.
I'm not in that school.
Let's agree.
But that co-parenting can be very effective if people can be mature. But people don't understand the fundamentals. They just think, okay, the fact that we're no longer together, we must be enemies.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. Life is too short
Yeah.
for you to be making enemies.
Yeah.
Why make war when we can make love?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Plenty love.
Yeah.
Plenty.
So
literally and figuratively.
oh yeah. So the growth process is what people now need to embrace.
Yeah.
And so what I do now is I have learned that everything about us is a memorized behavior.
Yeah.
Everything about you. So if any action happens, you have the first meaning that comes to you or interpretation that comes to you, you need to now intentionally be aware that there are like 7 or 10 other interpretations that same thing could mean. And that was why I wrote on social media and it became generated. There was this story of this video that went viral of a masquerade who went to church. and people began to say, what has church turned into, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I can only see a human being who is differently dressed from the rest of the people.
Yeah.
I said, no, I said, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but that's what I can see. And I said, what's the big deal? And, because that was how I grew up. I grew up in the Anglican communion. My dad was an Anglican priest, so when we do bazaar and all those things, they come to church.
Really?
Yeah, they come to church. You will see even the Baba of the church has like 3 wives. They wear the same thing. They sit in church. so I think they came to do Thanksgiving in church. So I said, okay, but people are not thinking. Number one, if you believe that thing is really a masquerade, and he has
not a human being.
Demonic spirit, right? But you say at the name of Jesus, every name must bow.
Why didn't he bow?
Why is it dancing with you?
Dancing gallantly.
Is that the guy that's more than the people in church? That's number one. Number two, if you don't accept that he's a human being that is from heaven, right? What is the big deal when an heavenly being came to worship an heavenly God?
Why in the midst of
heavenly being? You say you are citizens of heaven. So another heavenly being has come to.
You are afraid. Imagine he was an angel.
So it now dawned on me that costume is troubling people.
Yeah.
Costume. I mean, without any power.
Yeah.
It's troubling people. So if Jesus wore that costume, you would have rejected him.
would have rejected him. Gladly.
So the capacity to interpret the same thing in different format, and for people to understand that life is not this or that.
Yeah.
It's often this and
that.
And that.
Yeah.
It helps us.
And white,
not black or white.
Life becomes easy for us. And so what I've learned to do now is when I look at all the interpretation, I now choose the one that promotes my mental wellness. That's the one I choose. And the interesting thing, these people quote that let the weak say I am strong. That's exactly what it means.
Yeah.
That you are weak, but you are saying you are strong. You call it faith. It's interpretation. Yeah. The one that, because you can say I am dying and you will die. Right? But that one does not promote your mental wellness. So you need to choose the meaning. So if someone gossips about me, talks ill of me, the interpretation I'm going to, this person is troubled.
Yeah.
Because at that, I hold my peace is my personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And you see, peace is predicated on your effective interpretation of events.
Yeah.
Because there's so much hell all around
you.
Yeah, that you now need to consistently create your heaven.
In
right?
fact, somebody said to me, what you need to start saying, once anything you just start to say to yourself, I choose peace.
Yes.
I choose peace.
And
before it's like it's
going to be tough initially.
Yes,
it will even sound like you are deceiving yourself.
Yeah. but after a while,
if you reinforce, because every behavior is learned, we learned it, and so that's the power human beings have that we don't use. Yeah. Anyway, what do we have to?
We're talking about
love.
We've got love.
We've got some time.
we've got two more. Is love and respect. Yeah. So maybe we should start with respect. What is respect?
We did what last week?
We did understanding.
Did we do understanding? Did we do understanding?
Understanding
and acceptance. So today is on love and respect. Respect. We start with respect?
Yes.
RESPECT. Find out what it means to me.
Exactly. Respect. What is respect? So okay, so yes, what is respect? Let's start from there.
Respect to me is their ability to recognize the humanity in everyone you meet and accord them the honor that befits a proper human being, irrespective of who they are, what they do, and where they are. That's where they're from, rather. That's the way I say. That's why I try to differentiate between I have respect and being a respecter of person. A respecter of person will accord different treatment to people depending on, but will now look down on other people
if they're not of the
same.
If they're
not of the same level, and I think it's bad behavior to actually be looking down on people.
Anyone,
not even bad, low self-esteem actually. So and so you see the way we talk to house helps, the way we talk to drivers, the way we threaten people, the way we talk to even children. Many people don't respect children. They don't even believe that children have emotions
at all.
So
children should never.
So they don't. So when you begin to teach things like, I'm going to do that real tomorrow, on the need to respect children, because they will now quickly say, yeah, spare the rod and spare the child. But it's also in the Bible that if you have a stubborn and rebellious child and you have talked and he's not listening, bring him to the elders, let them stone him to death. It's in that Bible.
Why are you not bringing it?
Why are you not doing that?
Why are you not exercising?
Nobody's doing that. So we need to get to that point where honor becomes a lifestyle. To say, what I see is, and you say, when you get to that level, it will almost look as if you have lost your religion. And people may not understand you. So you would see a Muslim, you won't know who a Muslim, a Christian, Buddhist, you will know, you don't know who gay, straight is. You will just see humanity. That I am going to give you that honor, going to respect, honor you, and I'm not going to give you less honor than I'll give a president, and you see, when that is your way of life, a lot of doors will open for you. And so what I now do is I ask people, reduce your life to one word and make that the one word you work for all the time. That when people come into your life and they leave, if someone asks them, how did you feel when you left him? What would be that one word? The moment your signal becomes what they are feeding you back with, then you have mastered it. Because when people make statements like, you can't determine what people say, it's not true. You can actually determine what people say. If you are sending an intentional signal. So if you say the Adiola is sweet, let's say sweetness is the word she has chosen, right? So even your anger, you'll be angry in a sweet way, right? And it imposes personal discipline on you, right? You'll be angry in a sweet way that even when people hurt you, the way you're going to handle it, it shows in charge and being in control, So when that becomes our lifestyle, respect becomes very easy, then it's no longer, I see governor about.
So does it matter when they say respect is earned in the light of what you're talking about now? And of course, I will soon connect it to
maybe
marriage.
Another version of respect, is so if we come back to love, okay, we're not yet in love. If you say respect,
we're in love,
whether you like it or not.
If you say maybe competence is earned, do you understand? So there's a form of respect that comes with competence. But when we're talking about human relationship, humanity, right? That's what we're talking about. So I don't have to hand that.
Right.
You can see me. I have to like
the fact that I'm existing and I'm human.
A human, because if you say I need to earn it, it depends on the level you are in. If you were fortunate that your father was a diplomat and you were born, you went to Harvard, you went to Yale, right? You now say you need to earn the respect of someone whose father was born in Iworoko Ekiti, went to the University of Ado Ekiti, has never seen a skyscraper before. It's never going to happen because you are living two
different
worlds. But the leveler has got to be the fact that it's not, two legs are not up, head is not down. He's a human being. He has nose, he has eyes, he has right. So it helps you to be willing to listen, even if what he's saying is nonsense. Right? Because I used to have that problem. Once I noticed that what you're saying is nonsense, I move away. Until my mentor taught me that maturity is allowing mediocrity to torment you without you even responding back and sitting down to enjoy mediocrity.
Or selective hearing.
Yes.
Which is what I do.
So I mean, I don't know if this is a good example, but let me share nevertheless. So I went to church one day with my wife, and my wife knows that I do that all the time. So when what is coming from the pulpit is not relevant to what I switch off and I switch to another place and I'm meditating, I'm writing down. So there was this lady beside me. So the pastor mentioned the verse of the scriptures and she didn't get it. So she looked into my notes to say, oh, please, can I copy the... Oh my God. My wife started laughing exactly. So she was looking at what I was writing.
What are you writing?
Because my note was full.
But it had nothing to do with what the pastor was saying.
At least the one is writing, me, I write in the air.
So she now began to read what I was writing. So my wife, because I didn't know what to say. My wife now said to her, please,
my
wife, don't mind this. It's not here. So the lady read a few lines and said, can I be copying this one?
I thought thought I was the only one I used to. I write in the air. You just hear my mom say, "Come on, stop writing there." I
think in pictures, I just be designing things. So it's important, that sometimes even when, because people are different levels, and I think we forget too quickly that we used to be at that level.
Yeah.
So
and even if we never really were at that level, we were at some level.
Yeah, that this person is a product of wherever he's coming from.
Yeah.
And so it's not, so you can look at him and say he's wrong or he's bad or he's right or whatever, because it depends on his worldview.
Yeah.
That it depends on where you're standing. So I was saying to a group of people 2 days ago that, are you aware that some people are in hell in this Nigeria, some people are in heaven in this same Nigeria?
This same Lagos.
Yeah.
So all these things you are shouting, things are expensive.
They don't know what
they are not aware.
About. Well,
so
me,
those guys are in heaven. Some people are in hell. So I say it depends on where you are standing.
Yeah.
That also determines what you see, who you have access to, and things like that. So it's the same way. We need to understand that even like we say on this show, even the knowledge, the light we think we have, we're going to grow in another 10 years, and we're going to watch this show and laugh at ourselves and say, what were we smoking when we're talking like this? Because knowledge is progressive, and we need to understand that. So for me, it's about spotting the humanity in you and giving you that honor to say you deserve, at least regardless of what you do. And I think that helps, because if that's what we all do, people will feel better. People will learn better from us than when they just think that this person is talking to me anyhow because I'm a nobody.
So let's move that now to marriage.
Exactly.
Right? And the Bible.
Yes. Because when people talk about respect in marriage,
they go straight to the Bible.
They go straight to submission.
Yes, exactly.
So submission is not.
Yes, exactly.
Submission
If
is.
Then you don't have respect.
Yeah.
So you're
and are you meant to submit to every man?
No.
Okay.
Again, so if we want to teach Bible, let me teach Bible.
Please.
Now,
Pastor
but we're also dealing with personalized relationships.
Ephesians,
here, right?
where they quote from. The problem of the Bible, of the interpreters of the Bible, is that they never read the Bible into context. For every verse in the Bible, it doesn't stand alone. There is a pretest, which is what happened before it. There's a post-test, which is what happens after it. There's a context, which is, then there's an environment of that scripture. Then there is the original word used that maybe English has interpreted and things like that. So if we go back to that scripture, it started with, and everybody, most of the time, not everybody, they omit that word. Submit one to another in the fear of God. So it makes it not gender-centric to say submission is human.
Yeah.
Right? That when someone demonstrates superior knowledge in a particular area that you are ignorant, you need to submit to that person. It's like the head of state whose worldview and business experience is cattle rearing. Now wanting to control the economy of a nation, it will be disastrous.
Completely.
So he needs to submit to the intelligence, put an economist in charge of the economy and submit to his knowledge. Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, but because, again, it's been a man's world, people are not, a lot of men, and you can't blame them, they never saw their father listen to their mother.
Yeah.
So when you have a lot of macho men on the pulpit, that will be, they will skip that and quickly go to wife, submit to your own husband. Now, so wife submit to your own husband is also predicated on the fact that your husband is a leader. Right? And so I say to people that if you have a leader who speaks to your core essence, who creates the ideal environment where your potential will find expression, even the devil will submit to that leader.
Naturally.
I mean,
if he says so, let's move, you'll be like,
this
where are we
person
moving to?
believes the best about me, and even when I make mistakes, he doesn't rub it in.
There to support.
You will submit to that person. The problem is people are not focusing on what is within their control, because submission is an aftermath of certain behavior.
Yeah.
That if I fit into this behavior, and which is why if you check that scripture, the job description of a husband is tough. Women is like 2 verses, so men is like 7 verses. He covered wardrobe management.
Yes.
He covered pedicure in there, right? He covered everything and everything. In fact, he says, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life.
Yes. So he must be ready to give,
to die,
to give his life.
to die. How did he love the church? He was washing their feet. He was feeding them. He was doing everything for them. You know, protecting and shielding them. You know, so if we understand
healing them,
that responsibility, then we'll know that, hey, and part of that, even loving the church, is he now empowered them to be themselves. Because he kept telling them, I will go away. And he sent them out 2 by 2. He shared power, authority with them. So they could cast out demons. He could cast out demons. Right? So we don't see it as deep as that. What we just say, because again, we love to be worshipped. It's not even respect people are looking for, it's worship.
Yes.
And what is respect? Respect to many of our men is, do not argue with me.
Whenever I say something back,
don't argue with me.
Lion of the tribe of
Judah. So why would you say I should not argue with you? It's not an argument. So what the contrary opinion is not an argument. It just means I'm independent minded. And the way I see things is not the way you are saying things. And both of us can see differently and be right. So we are not competing, you know. So the problem is they don't have the final say over issues, and that's where this comes from. Problem. So when we learn mutual submission, which is what I think it is, it's human to respect, it's human to be submissive. I mean, the tragedy of what they quote is the fact that some of them have female bosses at work. And they submit.
Of course.
Willingly, with trembling. Especially if your madam is all those
big madam.
They kneel down. You know, but the pain of kneeling down for a woman, they now transfer the aggression at home.
So now, so let's bring that down to now. I meet you, and we're looking at getting married.
Yeah.
How do we then express or explain respect in that regard, right? Is it that I tell you what respect means to me, or is it that I accept whatever you say respect is to you? How do you then bring that down into us before we get into marriage, so that there's education on both sides?
If you can't respect my humanity, then there's no point. There's no deal. There's no deal.
Because there are signs.
There's no deal.
So what does that mean? If you can't respect my humanity, what does that mean?
You can't respect my right to be heard, right? My right to pursue my passion, right? My right to do what a human being should do. Because there are people who made themselves, and the first thing is, you know, when we marry, you need to stop that your job. You lack respect for my person. You don't even ask, what does your job mean to you? If my whole essence is defined by that job, you're going to take it away from me. So what it means is that your greatness has to be dependent on my smallness.
Right.
And I'm not going to give that to you.
Right.
So you need to have that conversation. And not just have the conversation, you need to observe. How does he treat you? How, when things don't go his way, what is his response?
Does he do?
Yeah. And how does it talk to you? And when you guys,
other people.
Yeah. And when you guys are in a situation where you are speaking and he's speaking, you know, does it feel offended
Does it tell you to
that
shut
you're
up?
hearing your opinion? You know, does it work out on you? These are things that you can't hide these things. You can't hack it. It will show.
I mean,
I
dated
those people
I dated
feel
some
that way.
That feel
Guys, because it's also, like we've also said, it's not their fault as well.
Yes.
They have grown up thinking that I'm the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and I'm he who must be obeyed and worshipped. So how, if I really love him?
Yes. So you now need to have that conversation with him to say, sweetheart, which is what we call open day in FESEC. To say you need to have your open day. And open day is the day of the week, or is that meeting where everyone is free to say whatever they want to say the way they want to say. The rule is nobody gets angry. No, whatever I said cannot be used against the person.
You.
And whatever I said, if it's significant, you have to change. So you need to have that conversation and say, sweetheart, and if you have to be at your best, using the sandwich to say, you know, I love you, you know, but this is what I think. You know, I have this impression that
I make this mean.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but this is what the vibe I get all the time. That you can't stand
my talking,
a woman talking or something like that, you know, and that hope he doesn't mind. In fact, what you can do is hope you don't mind if we see a counselor, a professional together. right? So that it doesn't look like you're trying to correct him, because that might be another
problem.
So when you see a tested professional, they can help the two of you out. And because if you're working with someone who's very skilled, they can actually profile where it's coming from, the kind of family he came out from and all, and what that has done to him. So because what he's doing is literally representing the family that produced him. Where his father was the lion of the tribe of his own. So he's a he's a PhD lion. He has PhD
being a lion
and things like that. So that's how to help him, and so when you now see a professional, they can tell. But if you can't get a professional, you can also have that conversation as a friend. Which is why I even think that the missing link in many of these things is friendship. It's friendship because
we said that earlier. Friendship.
I don't know, and I may be wrong, but I think people are so quick to say I love you that they don't actually go past the phase of I like you. Because if I like you, I would do things, I would give excuses like I like my friend.
Yeah.
I would go out of my way to do certain things for you because I like you.
It goes back to
I think like is so much deeper than love because
we can't say that.
No, I think so.
There's an extent, and the because when you get to love, it becomes a decision. It's more than just a feeling. It becomes a decision. It becomes a choice. But like is deep.
Also a choice.
But
it is
deep.
It's also a choice.
It is a choice.
But like is deep.
I think maybe because I've heard I love you too much and that love
that's why, because
that I'm now saying
inherent in love
I like you
is liking someone. So it's not you can't place the two side by side and say you prefer one to one because they are intertwined.
One of
and one can actually pass for the other as well. Because again, if you cannot like me and not like me tomorrow, but if I take a decision to love you, right, then it's respect, which is what Momsi was saying when she came, that it's been totally vulnerable to you. So I don't want us to get into that. But you see, it goes back to, and I think that's the aggressive advocacy we now need to do. Definition of male and female. The moment man and woman becomes masculine expression of humanity and feminine expression of humanity, where Bukola is the feminine expression of me, and I am the masculine expression of her. Once that is our orientation and is established, we will look more for what we can do for each other, and we realize that we're better together than apart. That it's counterproductive to the best version of us if I stop you from doing you and for being you. So the fact that definition doesn't exist in many people is why they always think, might be. So you see, everybody's trying to oppress everybody because that was what we inherited. And Sadhguru was saying something this morning that in 2013, there was a research that was done in the university in the US where they did it with rats, where they would spray, what's this thing now? This thing I used to do make my smoothies. Berries. They will spray berries, and when the rats rush the berries, they will now apply electricity and shock them. So they did that consistently. That every time they saw berry, they ran away. But you see, the amazing thing was that they stopped doing it, but they kept running. Such that when they now get back to, they now monitor their children and their children's children. Those ones still couldn't touch, despite the fact that they didn't experience the shock.
My dog, if my father has this talking drum with bells, right? Once my dad picks up that drum and shakes the bell, my dog, if he can enter your body, he will enter your body. He's so afraid of it.
So the great grandchildren who were not part of many of these things now inherited. So we need to be conscious of that, and that's why we need to literally evolve a new generation of people who don't feel threatened by. Because I tell people that the purest version of us was childhood.
The best.
If the four of us, three of us
Alex.
were 3-year-olds, now we wouldn't know male and female
at all. Big stomach or small stomach. Black and yellow.
We won't know. We'll just be playing,
eating.
Because play is all that matters to a child, and that's the way we need to return to.
Go back to
where if she's my wife and she's manifesting at the eyes level, I'm genuinely happy. to say, wow, I'm super proud of you. Go on, baby, go on, baby. I won't be thinking that. So who will now cook for me?
Look at her light shining.
So it's a messed up situation that we need to now model. And when we model it, then other people can follow. Because just like those cats, rats, their children's, our own children will also fall into what we model for them.
Yeah.
And so that's where we need to take it to. So
and that's even, I mean, that's even children that's even human beings you can communicate communicate.
So I can't feel offended when a woman talks to me, she rebukes me. She says, you haven't been talking as far as I'm concerned, you know. So
and what's the intention behind it?
Yeah, she can even have a wrong intention. Because there are times I've had a wrong intention. I think we need to check ourselves that we're not 100% all the time. Right?
We're never actually.
There are times.
You know, sorry, I just want to like take us off tangent just a little bit before we come back, even though our time is almost up.
We have 10 minutes.
So I was talking to mom the other day, and you know, talking about how greeting people.
I was writing.
How greeting people, you know, when you're talking about this child, you know, you're not supposed to. You should greet an elder when you see an elder. And I said to her, I said, is it cultural? She said, no, that it's courtesy. I said, well, I think it is cultural, because I remember when I my formative years. Okay, I lived my adulting years in the UK. In the UK, nobody gives a shit about you, right? Nobody greets you. In fact, the older people is the old ones, because nobody talks to them. Once they see an opportunity to say something or acknowledge somebody or want to be acknowledged, they go after it. They're the ones that they will talk to you on the bus. They're the ones that will talk to you at the train. I said, but the other guys will see you and walk past. I said, my first day in college, I had such a huge culture shock. And the day I went to register, I met this girl. We struck a conversation. We walked into town together. We spent about an hour together. I went into school the few days later, and she looked at me like she didn't know who I was. At that point, I was like, okay, I guess I'm, you know, on my own here.
Yeah, but also that's what has caused so much depression. That connection.
Yeah, no. I know that. Hang on.
Okay, so do you do this?
Yeah, she'll do it. So I know that, but I'm saying, I said, so if you look at it from that angle, right? You have picked up the call. If you look at it from that angle, it's cultural. Because in America, when you go to college, you meet I thought I was going to, like, you know, it was going to be like an American, you know, college experience where people would see you and they would want to be friends. Just decline. People would see you and they would want to be friends and all of that. I thought that was the experience I was going to have. I said, so now I lived there for 9 years or almost 10 years or so. When I first came back, why do I need to acknowledge your existence?
Okay, so if we have to place it, if you do an historical analysis, they didn't start that way. They didn't start that way. So there was a period where their economy was not 24 hours, where they had time. UK used to be a tightly knit family. They've not always been like this. Right. So that falls into culture is a way of life of people at every point in time.
Yeah.
So if you see the UK, right? In fact, I went somewhere in the US and they told me that in the year 1900, a lady couldn't wear trousers into a bank. You will never believe that was the same.
Yes.
So it used to be family, and they used to greet. You know, but as they developed, that was part of what development. So everyone became very busy that you never saw the person. So you saw the way they walk. You're trying to catch a train. So if you're trained, and you know train is not going to wait for you. So the moment productivity became measurable per hour, it changed the dynamic. So that was how they now became Nigeria is gradually tending towards that right now. So
this child cannot, even me, I do that sometimes. They're like, when you see people, you say hello.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's courtesy as well. You know, and it's also regard.
Yes.
So when I walk into a place, I don't care who you are, I'll be like, how now?
And that's why you find out that
many
of them are dying of loneliness.
Yes,
because you see, so mom says correct when you say courtesy, because you know what it means when 5 people says, how are you today?
You know, I like the color of the shirt.
We are social animals.
Yes.
We need to understand. Once you take it, that's why COVID people were getting depressed.
Yes.
Because we couldn't touch, we couldn't meet, we couldn't do all those things, you know. So I'll go with Momsi on
I will too.
It's not a this or that. I was
saying, ask this question.
Is it culture or is it
so now, right? I'm sorry, Buki. With this respect thing, and you talked about the man being a leader. I've heard so many arguments around this whole the man has the last say.
Okay.
Right? So yes, we both believe that this thing is or we both want something. You are saying it's black, I'm saying it's red. I'm saying, okay, as the leader, I want black. And since you all, I'm leading all of you, then black. It has to be black. What you gotta say about that? I think because I've had that conversation so many different times, and we're like, okay, am I making sense? So let me hear your own opinion, because some people are out there who are going to learn from that.
So I always say that, what would you rather have? When you can't agree, what would you rather have? A proper leader would be flexible enough to weigh all the sides and now pick the one in quotes and pick the one that best serves the interest of everyone.
Right.
Because you can be wrong.
Right.
However, if the family is led by a president, wherein is the husband, then one of the things you want to be sure of
that your president,
as a woman, before you say yes, is that your president is a proper president. Now, when that is guaranteed, this conversation won't be an issue, because you know it will listen. You know that even when he now says, okay, this is what we have to do, is weighed it. It's got to be in the best interest of everyone. And you know, it's not his habit to always insist, no. I must be the last final say. I must be the final say. It's not his habit.
So when he says no,
because again, if we now leave it open-ended, then there will be chaos in the family. It means a lot of things will not get done. What is the place is the topic discussed? Okay. So do you understand? So you will only, that's why you need to be careful.
I think it meant to say
what's the topic? Okay, you need to be we're looking at the 4 critical considerations before you get a ring, and we're on the 3rd one now. You know, so you want to be sure that your leader is that kind of person who really listens and who genuinely cares about you. You know, and
it's not his ego speaking.
Exactly, because I think a lot of it just comes down to ego as well. I think, and if we can drop our egos and see each other, quotes.
We are a team. People need to understand that.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to get out.
You see, experience should have taught you who is better in a particular area. And for me, let the best person in a particular area take the lead in that area. So when it comes to signing of contracts in my home, I'm too impatient, in quotes, to read through. So I give it to my wife. Tosin will read line by line. And we ask, what does this mean? You know, she reads it for me. And she does, if we have to fill any form, she's the one that does the filling of the form. You know, so when it comes to creating a budget and all, it's Tosin. She is very experienced, has proven consistent. Even now, I have mastered how to save because she taught me. You know, so the moment you have taken the decision, you failed. Your wife took a decision, she succeeded. Then you know that is her area. That you are getting married to someone whose potential will not find expression is already a problem for me. Right? So you should check what area. But in my family, when it comes to relationship with people, falling out with people, it's me. I'm the one who can relate with 1,001 people. I am shamelessly I'm shameless
about
it. I'm just a lover, but my wife is the one who does due diligence, who checks you out and says, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think? I mean, so she's my warning bell. So you need to be able to know that and say, okay, when we are discussing finance is my wife, it's not me. Right? When we are discussing, okay, let's reinvent, let's create, that is me. Because that's so what he does then is to now challenge me, question to just be sure that you have not missed out anything. That's how things work.
Because the end goal is a happy family, right?
Yes.
We're not and a happy home. So it's not like we're not against each other.
That is it.
That
consistently, what do we want?
What do we want?
What's good for us? So the problem is, all these problems happen when there is no uniform vision that the couple is working towards. To say, this is our family vision. So once you have a clear family vision, every decision is placed on the scale of that. How is what will serve this interest? If it's not going to serve the interest, then we're not going to do it. But people don't realize that. So, and once you don't have that vision, people will be doing whatever they like, and somebody will just think that it's really cheap, fancy title in the village. Doing, not the family.
So guys, I mean, hey, we've talked about respect today.
Yes.
I'm not sure
we couldn't even get to love. Our time is up.
Love is next week.
And love is very sweet.
But respect is the fact. I mean, we must honor each other.
And
honor our humanity.
That's it. Go out tomorrow. I mean, say something good about people. Spot what is good about them.
We start yourself.
We have overflogged that on this.
But
it's not enough.
Overflog it.
Because people, I do. There's something I do with my colleagues in the office. Once a month, I send them thank you voice notes and call. They can't handle it.
People think, what do you want?
Do you understand? They can't. You hear people like, oh, I needed to hear that. Oh, really? But I didn't do anything. Like, people cannot handle praise. So obviously, they cannot praise themselves.
It's because they were socialized, they were condemned for praising themselves. Every time they try to
say you're proud.
Because
I was talking to somebody that said, he said, but is that not pride? I said, no.
We do that. I miss PESEC real time classes. We do an exercise where we ask people to praise themselves for 5 minutes. They've never been able to do it.
Can't.
In fact, every time I've done that exercise, the only group of people that successfully did it were grandmas.
Because of Oriki.
They will turn into Oriki.
Oriki.
You will beg them to stop. You see gyration. But I'll tell young people, praise yourself without adding any scripture and without repeating the same words twice.
It's impossible.
It's
5 minutes.
Tough.
Okay. 5 minutes. So not a small thing now.
It's what it is. We have to love people and love ourselves. Starting with ourselves. I think that's where we need to start from. Where we love ourselves unconditionally. Okay, so go tomorrow, face the mirror, and praise yourself for 5 minutes non-stop. Don't quote any Bible. Don't repeat the same words twice. Let's see if you can do it. Right? If you don't succeed, try again.
You then maybe you can video, record yourself and
send it to us, and maybe write down your affirmation. I always tell write it down now, and in fact, what we now do in class when they now write it down, we now play an hypnotic music. Then we now get people to close their eyes. Then we tell people to go and read what they wrote
in their ear.
Come and sit here. People be crying.
They haven't heard it.
There was a lady in class I remember. Part of what she wrote was, "I'm a good kisser."
Oh.
And when we got to that part, she just started crying. So when I took her up, I said, "All my life, I didn't see that as a strength." Because they always say it's simple. So please go and praise yourself. Respect yourself. And love yourself. You deserve it. You are worthy. You are a human being. So have a fantastic.
Thank you. And have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you. Time is never our friend on this show. But we gotta go. So bye-bye.